So with the previous one we are able to adjust the script, so it will exploit it, and the SICAboom application, and it will buffer overflow this application, and went through how to adjust a part of the buffer overflow to go to the EIP, and especially those 4 character apart from the ESP. And actually the EIP is the most important one. So this is the script from the previous video, and if you remember the first 263 character, this should be going everywhere, and after that it will have a buffer overflow, and then the 4 character after that which was expected to be B root and the B whatever remained from the 5000 here, and it has written on the ESP. So what are we going to do? That we have to remove the source A, B and C, then we are going to write or use the exploit. So the first thing you should do is to need to put on the ESP's payload from where we can get the payload. So a payload can be and get from a different ways, but we have a very good tool in Backtrack actually, and it's a tool that allow us to generate a payload. So it would be written in the ESP port, so it can be here from the penetration, inside meter or framework version in the web. So we already explained previously that use of the exploitation part. So now we use the RPC exploitation to exploit the system, and so that we can browse the type of IP and showing this to the command line like in this one. But we mentioned that total size should be always 5000, so there was a little less, so it should need to be executed from here, and the total amount should be 5000 from 416, and for the first point is that usually the first shell code, so I have to put around the 16. So it is important because according to that it will leave some space to be executed, but don't forget that we need to do the ESP, and also ESP would not execute it by itself. So the SP is being executed by the EIP, which is just 42. So in this part the EIP need to be put a specific register which is a specific entry that will enforce to execute the ESP. So usually having memory called jump ESP, and the jump records that enforce execution for ESP. So if you are able to get this jump ESP, and it can replace those 42 jumps that you saw in the previous picture and the code, since this is a place where the memory executed the entry. This will happen when you send and find the jump ESP, and it will send to the memory. Then it will automatically go to the ESP and will be executed. And this is very important because this is what will send to the EIP, and according to that EIP would be automatically go and execute. So what is ESP? So if you need to search for the jump PSP or code PSP in Linux, there is a inbuilt application named jump ESP. So after opening it, if you execute the code, there will be then buffer, and there will be the code that go to the ESP to run it. And as I see here, it was a 42.9 353 and double check the 9353. So if you think to that the jump PSP value, then it will be able to use it later. So let's just wait for the next step, which is the final step to utilize this PHP. So it will be execution for instead of 42 just for the EIP, because this is what controls the execution and the valuation piece, and it should be written on a specific way like the opposite ways. So for this instance, if you put E and it will be 7E and move it to the 704240 and then 93 dot, so 93 and finally C is 42 and finally 5353, so 53934270. This is the jump PSP. So if everything went well, that's what we expect after this. Then there is a port which is 4444 open to the vector machine and virtual machine. So it controls the application, and make sure to go back and open the application to utilize it. So finally we don't need use the debugger right now, as we access the virtual machine or not. So it's better to just open this application and up and running. So this was the nice script that created over this. So as you can see, you can check it from the Windows machine, or also use the netcode to open the code, and finally utilize the buffer overflow to get the full access of the machine, and a port should be open. If it works, it's fine. You can just check from the Windows machine, so you can netcat and try to cover up into it. So as you can see in this picture, it created the payload that I sent, and it utilized the buffer overflow to give full access on the machine.